Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I'm watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning. Joining me this week is my old friend and our resident Trekkie, Nate. Join us now as we discuss the next 3 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, Reunion, Future Imperfect, and Final Mission. Make it so.
What?
So, should we talk about some Star Trek?
Talk about some Star Trek.
All right. So, like other times, I'm glad I didn't read the little snapshot or whatever the tag on Paramount Plus or on IMDb. I avoided IMDb until I was done with the episodes, and even then, I went and it was mostly a curiosity of like how far off are my ratings,
Yep,
like
that's
just
fair.
because I'm just curious. But then I'm typing out the little synopsis they have or the little just yeah, very brief synopsis, and I'm just like, well, how about you bury the lead a little bit?
Hmm.
With a perfect example being when the leader of the Klingon High Council dies, Picard finds himself in the middle of the struggle for the now vacant. When the leader of the Klingon High Council dies, Picard finds himself in the middle of the struggle for the now vacant position. Meanwhile, Worf reunites with a past love, only to find out he now has a son.
Dun dun
In
dun.
Reunion.
Yep. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean, granted, my first note was Kalar is back, and is that with Baby Worf? So I mean, it was there like right away, but there was
Yeah.
still a little bit of that shock value of like, oh, oh,
Yep.
okay. And then there's also that like, all right, is it that? Is it not that? And she's just fucking with them. I think it's that.
Yeah. Look, you could understand Kaylar messing with him a little bit just for, grins, because that's kind of how she is. But
I feel
you
like that
also
would have
know that that's
been
not the
too
case.
far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fair.
Um, so yeah, I will say this episode makes me want to revisit The Emissary, which I
Hmm.
already revisited and bumped up from a 6 to a 7 with the thought that, okay, I could see it maybe going even higher, but I still didn't love the way she was in that episode.
Hmm.
In some of it, just the way it was handled. Still good episode. I'm intrigued to revisit it. Um, but yeah, what was your rating for this one?
I gave this one a 7. I generally really like this episode. I think it's a really good further deep dive into Klingon culture and kind of how they're set up and how their government works, which holy crap, can you imagine if that's how we elected presidents? That'd be interesting. But just to kind of dig into that further, I still really like the interactions between Worf and Kalar. And it's disappointing that now that won't continue.
Yeah,
It's kind of heartbreaking to see that happen. But overall, I think it's a really solid episode with, an interesting plot and oh, I enjoy these deeper dives into other cultures.
all right. Yeah, for all of those reasons, I gave it an 8. I
There you
really
go.
I really enjoyed this one. I took a handful of notes. I really didn't take that many notes.
I didn't either.
I just enjoyed the episode. Abby said she also gave it an 8, whatever an 8 means for her. But yeah, she really liked this one too. And she said she's trying to kind of think of her rating by what she remembers of the episode to
Yep.
then see how she fits that watching it now. So she watched this one. She said she started it and it was immediately like, oh, this one. But really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was it was just another example of how strong this series is at this point in time.
Yep.
It There was very little wasted time, very little wasted scenes, fluff in it. Everything in the episode seemed to add to it and the overall story.
Hmm.
Uh, there was so much going on in it. I mean, we talk about some of these episodes that have an A and a B plot or an A, a B, and a C plot, and I didn't feel like that was the case with this one because everything just tied together.
Yeah,
It wasn't chaotic or disjointed, and it didn't feel forced together. But there was the Worf, Kalar, Alexander story. There was the Klingon succession story. There was a murder mystery, a bomb mystery, the Kalar murder mystery. But they all were
they were
just
all
intertwined
woven together.
and executed so well. I was on the verge of even giving this one a nine. Because yeah, I just thought it was such a strong episode, had just almost no weaknesses in it.
Hmm.
But in the end, I just felt like, no, this is just it wasn't some mind-blowing, amazing episode, but it was just great. Um,
You might be talking me up to an eight because, well, as we were sitting here and you were kind of, listing out, you gave it an eight and here's why. I was starting to think about like, what did I dislike about this episode?
yeah,
And it's very hard for me to put my finger on something I disliked or wish they had done better or anything along those lines, right? I mean, I think
yeah,
it's just simply a well executed episode.
yeah.
I
I
think I'm gonna do a rare, bump up there.
Yeah, I felt that it exhibits almost all of the strengths that we see in the series to this point. We're seeing greater we're just comparing it to how they did things in the original series.
Hmm.
We almost never saw recurring characters. We occasionally saw recurring actors in
Yep.
completely different roles, but and they would almost never reference events that happened in other episodes. It was
Right.
just a almost 79 standalone episodes
Yeah.
that you could watch 78 of them and never see the last one, and your experience is not going to be much different. Um, but this one shows how much greater both depth and breadth this series has because they have recurring characters that are meaningful, not just Harry Mudd showing up and
Yep.
being Harry Mudd for an episode.
Right.
There's a depth to these characters. The characters that come back matter. Um, and they're referencing events that happened before,
Mhm.
even when those characters weren't necessarily involved, they're bringing stuff up.
Yeah.
It just makes this series feel more substantial, I think, than the original series.
Agreed.
Um, in just the way they're putting these together. And with that said, this episode I think could stand on its own, and you could know nothing about it and gather, all right, it's part of something bigger,
Yep.
but you could sit down and watch that episode, and that'd be the first episode you've ever seen, and probably just be like, all right, I'm in.
Hmm.
Um, but those ties to far prior episodes, we're talking seasons apart, not just what happened 2 weeks ago. It's, I think that just makes it even stronger. So yeah,
Agreed.
fantastic episode.
And I liked, I mean, going back to the murder mystery part of it, right? Kim Peck does what he does because number one, Picard is really the only person he can trust at this point, right? He can't trust anyone within his own government.
Well, because
Uh,
one of them is trying to poison
yeah,
him
and number
like a
two, it's
coward.
like, who's trying to kill him? And I don't. It's probably pretty light on the mystery part of the murder mystery. Of course, it's Duras.
Hmm.
Like, if we've learned nothing about the Duras family, it's that they are terrible Klingon beings. Um, they will do anything to get ahead. They don't care if it's honorable or not. Like, we haven't even met Gowron prior to this episode.
Hmm.
Of course it's Duras, right? Like, Worf kind of calls it from the outset, and everyone's like, well, let's wait and see. No, of course it is.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of cool that that's how this all comes about, is like Kempek wants to figure it out. Picard's the only place he can go. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this. And, Picard gets brought in kicking and screaming almost.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's clear that it's him, but still the pacing of it and the
mhm.
reveals, it was great. It was really good.
And
Um,
and also, like, man, Picard holding Worf accountable is really fun to watch.
yeah.
Like early on, right? I don't even think they had gotten to the credits. I think this was still the cold open, but looks at it and says, "You will not go into hiding whenever a Klingon ship decloaks." Like, hey man, get over it. Well,
Hmm.
like, I understand this happened to you. You are also the chief of security on this ship. Get your shit together. Like,
Well,
you have a
and
job.
in a way, he's like, you chose to do this.
Yep.
Now deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't afford for you to be a little
Uh-huh.
bitch.
And then he uses it later, like, when he brings Worf into the conference room,
Hmm.
Worf goes, "My presence will be disruptive." Yes, it will. Like, I'm counting on it.
Point. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I think I didn't care for with this episode is the way he reprimanded Worf at the end. That seemed harsh, but at the same time
Yeah.
makes sense. It does make sense. He did something he should not have done. And that reflects on Picard. It was one of those like, yeah, but so
You
I mean, not enough that it detracted at all from my enjoyment of it, but it was just a little like, oh man. But
I
at the same time, I do have my note here that Picard seemed genuinely upset with Worf for killing Duras, but was also sympathetic to him.
right.
And so there was that, and I mean, it's not like he like dishonored him, but he was just like, there, you will get an official reprimand. So, I
I
mean,
think it goes
maybe
back.
it's just like consider me punished kind of thing. Um,
Yeah, I
but
mean, I think it goes back to some of the debates that we've had in the past about where does culture end, right?
mhm,
Where do you adopt the culture of one society versus another? And
right.
what Worf did was perfectly acceptable in Klingon culture.
Hmm.
Now, he's a Starfleet officer, he's a part of
Right.
the overall Federation culture, but he did
And
it on the
he
Klingon ship.
and and
Like,
he assassinated one of the two candidates
yep,
for leading the empire. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
when I think about it that way, yeah, kind of a big deal. Uh, but I also think it was a little bit like the whole time at that point in the episode, we're probably feeling really sympathetic, empathetic towards Worf
for
and
sure.
what he's gone through and what's happened and everything that's hit him and everything that the episode is bringing up from the past. And then on top of that, he gets the Picard equivalent of I'm not mad, I'm disappointed,
Mhm.
and I'm mad.
I
Because
think
Picard was kind of pissed too.
I think I understand, and by the nature of Klingon culture, support what Worf did, right?
Hmm.
From what we know of, excuse me, from what
Yeah.
we know of the Klingons. However, I also see Picard's point and understand his anger, frustration, disappointment in
Well,
for how that went. Like I see both
and
sides.
and as I'm looking back at some of the quotes that I jotted down, because while I didn't take too many notes, I did write down a handful of quotes. And one of them from earlier in the episode is Picard telling him, "You should not forget you chose to accept the consequences of that lie."
Yep, he did.
So Picard, the entire episode is basically telling him, like, own it.
Yes, and the fact that he accepted the consequences of that does not mean in Klingon culture he doesn't get to take retribution for the death of Kalar,
Hmm.
right? Discommendation or not, I
Yeah.
mean, he even says in the episode, "It's my right. She was my mate."
Hmm.
Uh, he hadn't really, if anything, he hadn't owned up to that
Right.
until literally that moment.
Hmm.
But even though he was under discommendation, he could still exercise that right
Hmm.
under Klingon culture, right?
Yeah.
Again, not the Federation way of doing things, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's the nuance, right? All
Yep.
of those things can be true. Like,
Yep.
we want to make one thing true and the rest of them false. It's almost never the case. In this
Right.
scenario, every single thing we've just talked about is true and can coexist.
And which is, again, why this was such a great episode
Yeah.
because they executed it so well. They hit it from all sides. Just
Oh, it's
great.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was excellent. Um, yeah, I had a few quotes that I liked that I will say where I was underwhelmed or not the biggest fan of Kalar in The Emissary. Now I am very much, like I said, intrigued to go back and revisit that episode because I thought she was awesome in
She's a
this
little
one.
more toned down in this one, I
And
think,
it might have
versus the
been that she
other.
was so, by my recollection, and I haven't watched the episode in quite a while, by my recollection, though, in the first one, she was really abrasive
Hmm.
and like trying to get under his skin, but not to get under his skin, but to really like, not to just mildly irritate him, but to genuinely like offend and piss him off.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what I found off-putting in the first episode. But then in this one, when they're in the turbo lift and she says, "So now what? I have to perform some ridiculous ritual just to talk to you?" She's like, "Oh, oh, damn,
Right?
that's pretty
Just
good."
smack.
Uh, and later on, when she said, I think she was talking to Worf, but she said, "You talk like a Ferengi." I was like, "Oh man," again, just so good.
Excuse me.
Um, But yeah, it was yeah, just a great episode.
Agreed.
Really enjoyed pretty much everything about it. I mean, obviously it's sad seeing a character that you become more endeared to dying like that and feeling like it was one of those where it's weird to think, okay, she was only in two episodes
Yep.
as Kalar. Apparently she was also in another episode early in season two that I can't
A
recall.
couple of them. Yep.
Yeah. But as Kaylar, she was only in two episodes, and after watching this one, it's just like, damn, she's like a big figure.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah,
How do we feel about Worf sending Alexander away to be with his parents?
I I mean, I like that he is taking, in a sense, responsibility
Yep.
for him. And done in such a way that now you don't have some 4-year-old kid walking around the Enterprise, but
There's plenty of
is
other 4-year-olds
still
walking around the
is
Enterprise.
still going to be a potential story point in the future. Um, I don't know. But just speculating that opening is there. But that it's also not like, was it, oh God, was it Kirk? They found his son or something and he
Yeah.
was, or was it his nephew? And then he was like, all right, well, I'm out.
Yeah, is his
Uh,
nephew.
and just like,
Yeah.
I like that even
His
though
brother and his sister-in-law had been
yeah,
killed, and they found.
Oh
his
yeah,
neck
and that
barely
was
alive.
Shatner with just the shittiest mustache
Yes.
as his brother. Um, but yeah, so I like that even though it was just kind of a throwaway line, I like that they addressed that and
Yep.
gave it a potentially nice um kind of resolution. Uh,
Agree.
especially given how like negative the episode was as far as he's concerned. But then also that just nice connection because we did see Worf's family in a recent episode. So there's that connection there that I think just kind of adds to again, the
Yeah,
depth of the show.
absolutely. Cool. I'm just curious what your thoughts were on that. And so,
Yeah. No major opinion, just nice to have a good resolution.
oh, the other thing I noticed, I just was looking at my notes because like I said earlier, just like you, I didn't take many. Um, did you notice what was sitting in Worf's quarters on one of the tables?
No.
He had Tasha's spiky gauntlet thing from Code of Honor
Hmm.
sitting on one of the like an end table in his quarters.
Hmm.
They showed it twice that I saw.
Interesting.
And I don't remember ever seeing that again after that episode, but I thought that was, I
Hmm.
don't know if they just pulled it out of props because I needed to,
Make a
or if
Klingon
it's,
looking
yeah, or if it's literally supposed to be what she used in Code of Honor and it's some tribute to Tasha that
hmm.
Worf has. I don't know, but it was in the background in a couple of different shots that I saw.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, I don't think I have anything else on this one.
All right.
Anything
Is there
from
any
you?
good trivia on this one?
Yeah, there's a few. Not a ton, but a few. So this is the first time a Batleth is seen, mentioned, or named.
Hmm.
So
Is
that's
that
big.
the
The sword.
Klingon sword thing?
I watched an interesting video. It's been a few weeks ago now, or it's I don't know. YouTube algorithm is always interesting, the stuff that decides to present to you, right? But it's a guy that he's like an expert in medieval weapons and stuff like that. So he reviews different weapons to like talk about advantages and disadvantages, and sometimes he'll do fictional weapons as well. So he either bought or somebody donated a batleth to
Hmm.
him that was sharpened and ready to go. And
Hmm.
so he used it and he goes, you know, it has a couple disadvantages, but all in all, it's a pretty effective weapon.
Hmm.
Like you could do some real damage with this.
Yeah.
It looks his major complaint was it looks like it has a much longer reach than it actually does because you can't really come
Yeah.
down from the closest handhold to you. You don't have enough leverage there. You have to
Yeah.
go up one, so you're more in like the middle, so it kind of braces. You
Yeah.
lose reach that way. So it looks really weird in the camera when I do that.
It does.
But other than that, the fact that you can kind of take it and do the twisting motion to like pry weapons out of people's hands and things,
Hmm.
like it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, so just
Yeah.
thought it's an interesting video to watch because I'd never seen anyone actually analyze that before.
Hmm.
So, um, let's see. Related to that, the Klingon Batleth was designed by visual effects artist Dan Curry. Michael Dorn had been asking the producers for some time to create a signature weapon for Worf, and it was decided that this episode would be the perfect opportunity to introduce one. In addition to his artistic skills, Curry was an experienced martial artist. He drew inspiration from several real-world weapons to create a blade that looked distinctive, but also made ergonomic sense. There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
The Vorcha class Klingon cruiser makes its debut in this episode and was designed by Rick Sternbach. He wanted to pay homage to the original Klingon cruiser designed by Walter Jeffries, but also show some Starfleet influence in the designs. The Klingons and the Federation are now allies and presumably shared technology. He stipulated that the Vorcha would be about three-quarters the size of a Galaxy-class starship. When Gregory Janes supervised construction of the studio model, he made it 3 feet long, precisely three-quarters of the length of the newly
Hmm.
constructed Enterprise D studio model. This is one of the few occasions when studio models were actually built to scale with one another.
Hmm.
We talked about this a little bit, but Susie Plaxton, who plays Kalar, also played Dr. Solar.
Hmm.
Um, see here. As soon as Picard accepts Kempek's request, traces of Jerry Goldsmith's Klingon theme from the first and fifth Star Trek movies can be heard.
Hmm.
I love when they do this little musical kind of thing
Yep.
in the background. Charles Cooper, who plays Kempek, also played Cord in Star Trek V. I think we talked about that with
Hmm.
was it Sins of the Father, um,
Yeah.
where Worf originally gets his discommendation.
Hmm.
Let's see. Do. Yeah, and actually the uh the trivia is here. It was buried. Worst quarters also feature Ligonian Glavin from Cold God. Worf's quarters also feature a Ligonian Glavin from Code of Honor and a statue of Kalas and Morath, which can be um seen in several other episodes.
Hmm.
I can recall. Although Kalar only appeared in 2 episodes, due to her death at the hands of Duras, her character has proven to be a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, among Worf's weapons collections is Ligonian Glavin. This is the same weapon that Natasha Yar and Urena used in Code of Honor. This can be seen when Worf is getting his bat'leth to kill Duras. Much like Klingons, the Ligonians value honor above all else. Let's see here. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's it
All right.
for this one.
And then to close out this episode, just like Worf, we can all say, I miss her too.
Indeed. It's a great ending.
All right. So, another episode in which I'm glad I did not read the little bit before. Riker awakens 16 years after an away mission where he contracted a disease which destroyed his memory back to the point of infection. Or so he's told
No.
in future Imperfect. I took a lot of notes on this one because
Oh
there was
boy.
so much happening
I took
in
so
it.
little notes on it, like fewer notes on this than I did on Reunion. But let's do it.
All right. Yeah, I took a lot of notes, mostly just jotting down the stuff that was going on because there was so much going on in this episode. Um, it's another one that I'm giving an 8. I didn't like it as much as Reunion, and I thought the ending was really dumb, but not enough to drop it down to a 7, but the ending was dumb. Um, Overall, though, I thought it was a great episode. It felt very reminiscent of Remember Me, but for Riker instead of Crusher,
Yeah, I could see that.
because it was him being off on his own, sort of, and needing to figure out what the hell's going on. Um, I felt one of my notes was, are the Romulans trying to Inception Riker? Um, which is fitting because Abby and I just watched Inception a couple days ago. Fantastic movie. But then they had the separate Romulan thing, and then I said still feels a bit like Inception, and then it definitely wasn't. But yeah, I, I I thought the ending was the weakest part. Otherwise, it was yeah. Obviously, as we're watching it as the viewers, it's like he's not 16 years in the future, so what the hell is going
Right.
on? But the way they revealed things, the way they did all those different things, I thought it again was pretty well executed. Um, yeah. Not quite as good. I would give it a reunion minus in the ratings.
Sure.
Um, but because I didn't think it was quite that good, but really enjoyed the episode.
I didn't dislike this episode. Um, I've watched it a lot of times. I think it's an interesting premise. I think they generally pull it off pretty well. There's just always something about it that bores me a little bit.
That's
Um,
it's interesting that you say that because Abby had a very similar thought. She said she would have given it a 6
yep,
and that she just didn't really care for it. So I wonder if that's something where the first time, I wonder if you liked it more.
it's possible.
Um, because I could see this episode not really holding up, but for that first time, haven't seen it, there were a bunch of little details I thought made the episode really good.
Yep.
That I really enjoyed. I mean, the little things like his little gray wisp of hair, and
Hmm.
then when he's in the Romulan holodeck, whatever, or their version of that, and they do the scanner and the gray goes away. I thought those touches were really
Yep.
good, added to the depth of it, and then how everything seemed real, but then seemed a little bit off,
Yep.
and then a little bit more off as he was kind of piecing things together. And I could see watching it again, probably thinking like, whatever. Um,
So it's,
once you've seen it, once you know.
and maybe that's it. I also gave it a 6. So I think it's very interesting that that's what Abby gave it. Um, Yeah, I mean, I think on the one hand, yeah, everything is just a little bit off, and that just builds up to the point of his realization.
Hmm.
But also, like, there are times where things are a little bit off, and I would expect that
More.
you would notice it, like, notice that and be like, what? Like, here, I I wrote this down. It's one of the few notes I wrote down. He walks into his quarters with Troy, and all of a sudden he hears a trombone playing. So he walks into this bedroom area and sees his son Jean-Luc sitting there. How does his son react to him? You remember?
Not really, I guess.
He just looks up and goes, "Hi, Dad."
Oh yeah.
And it's like, wait a second. You Riker is supposedly just been in a coma for 10 days.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of concern about him. And he walks into his quarters and his son greets him like nothing has happened. And that kid is old enough to have shown some concern of like,
Yeah.
how are you feeling? Like, are you okay?
I I'll
What's
say
going on?
I'll say yeah, but the point of that scene is the shock of him having an unknown son.
I understand that,
And that was executed well.
but I
And the
think he could do both.
any nuance, I think, or like, Dad, how are you? Or what happened? I think would have taken away from it the simplicity of hi, Dad, and I think that probably went into a commercial break. The simplicity of that, I think, worked.
I'd have
And
to go back.
I
I
could see
don't.
I could see nitpicking it on subsequent watches, now knowing all of it, and then seeing all of those other little things that should have given it away right
So,
away.
two things. I would have to go back and look, but I don't think that went into a commercial break there. I'd have
It
to
maybe
double check.
didn't.
Second, how about instead of just hi dad, he walks in the room and Jean-Luc drops the trombone and runs over and hugs him, shouting dad. And you still get the same thing, but that would
Yeah.
be a natural reaction that I would expect. Here's the
Yeah.
other thing that bugs me though, too. They know that he has this disease, supposedly, right? I
Hmm.
mean, that's the premise of the episode, right? Would you really allow someone to command a starship when they could suddenly lose all of their memory going back 9 years or whatever and
Right.
have no idea what's like that Picard shows up on that Klingon ship and he's red alert, shields up, arm all weapons, like he was ready
Mm-hmm.
to go. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
is that wouldn't that would that not be a medical disqualification? Some of that stuff just stacked up and bugged me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So while I find it to be interesting, and while in general I think that the structure of the storyline is kind of fun, like it's different. It is similar to Remember Me, but still different enough to not be that episode. Uh,
Right.
it just the little things kind of stacked up and bugged the hell out of me. So,
That's fair. And I could see that easily being the case on a subsequent watch. First
mhm.
time through, I thought a lot of it was fun. You're seeing Data in a command role. Um, I was happy too. I think I enjoyed in this episode. I noticed things that I maybe wouldn't have noticed previously, where I noticed the communicators, the insignias were different, and instead of having the collar pips, they had the bars
Yep.
behind it. So I noticed those things were
Those are
different
cool, right?
that, but where a lot of the times I've not picked up on some of those differences in, say, the uniforms and things like that. But I saw that and I was like, oh, they're calling him captain, but he doesn't have any collar pips. What's going on? So I was just, maybe I liked it because I was happy I picked up on stuff that I've not seen before that you guys just rattle off like I should have known it for a long a long time.
I mean, that's
Um,
fair, right?
so I saw some of those things and picked up on some of the things like Ambassador Tomalak, who's like, okay, I recognized that Romulan coming back, and then it was like
Yeah.
Ambassador, what? Um,
I
so
mean, Andreas Katsoulis for the win. I
yeah,
will never not like him in anything.
right. Um, so yeah, I just overall I thought it was fun. I could absolutely see it not holding up as well for subsequent viewings, but as a first time viewing that episode, I thought it was great. It was a perfectly enjoyable episode. Although, like I said, I did think the ending of it with the kid being an alien, um, and him saying to me, "You will always be Jean-Luc." Uh, and then two to beam aboard. I thought that was just kind of dumb. Um,
Easy for sure.
it was it was a weak like I was a little disappointed it wasn't actually the Romulans because that would have been a
Fair.
more compelling ending and just ending it
I
with it
wonder why they
being
didn't just do
ending
that.
it being the alien looking like a kid who just wants some company just felt weak and a bit forced
Yeah,
in an otherwise pretty good episode.
that's fair.
And I liked um I didn't recognize the his wife in the picture, um, but he obviously did.
You don't
Uh
remember her?
I didn't when he then explained something, I
Yeah.
still couldn't tell you what episode she was in. She was in the oh God, Dixon Hill? Was she in that
Nope.
episode?
No.
No, she was in a holodeck episode though.
She she was a
Which one?
holodeck character in an
Yep.
episode. It was not a holodeck episode. Go back to season one,
Season one.
and I'm actually pulling it up because I think it's fairly early.
I
It's
wasn't
like an
keeping notes
episode
in
14 of season one.
I wasn't keeping notes in OneNote at that time,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna go dig for the notebook.
She was in the episode 11001001.
Oh.
Remember the
Yep,
Binars
yep,
steal the
yep,
Enterprise
yep.
and they need to
Are we sure
distract
Picard didn't
Riker.
surrender it?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was in the holodeck at the time, so
Yeah.
definitely didn't
No,
help
I
himself
okay.
there, but
Yep, I remember that now. I when he said the name, it rung a bell. It sounded familiar.
yep.
But again, just like the last episode, again, showing that depth here
Hmm.
and the breadth that they have, that they're pulling a random ass character to
And
just
I'll say,
show up in a 5 second video,
yep.
and it's meaningful. I
And,
think that's
and
really cool.
and if I'm gonna give this episode one little bit of credit, it's that detail for being the thing that puts him over the edge and realizes that something's wrong. I think that's
I think
absolutely
I
brilliant.
think that made him realize something was wrong, and what made him realize it was all completely fucked up was Data.
Oh, the contraction.
Yeah, saying I
Yeah,
can't. I was like, "Oh shit."
yeah,
When he said that, I was like, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
this is
It's
for
over
real,
now. Everything tumbles
not
apart.
right."
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stand by my six. I think
That's
there's
fine.
just too many little things that bugged me. But there were
No,
some cool things in there too.
I can totally see that, and like I said, I could see it easily dropping down to a 7 or a 6. But as a first time, never seen this episode before, I thought it was perfectly enjoyable.
Yeah.
Um, Even if I would probably say Remember Me was better. Um, but yeah, still, I didn't like it as much as Reunion. Didn't like it as much as Remember Me, but overall, I thought it was still a pretty great, entertaining episode.
There you
I don't
go.
have that much more on it because it's all the just little details of what was different or off
Yeah.
um, in it. But yeah,
I'm looking through the trivia. It's not a lot, but I'll read off a few if you're ready.
yeah.
So the turbolift scene with Riker and young Jean-Luc was added because the show was running short. The scene was written only the night before it was shot. Crap, we gotta fill 30 more seconds. And
Well, and I'll say that that adds into your 6, where a lot of times we rate some of these episodes low, and we can just tell
yeah, it's just,
things are in there. There's fluff in there that's not adding to the story, but is
yep.
needed for the advertisers.
Yep. Let's see here. The name of the Romulan door. Why I can't read tonight is beyond me. The name of the Romulan warbird depicted in the future events is the Decius, which was also the name of one of the first Romulans ever depicted on screen in Balance of Terror. Picard has ascended to become admiral. However, he only sports the 4 bars of what appears to be captain rank. Oh, God damn it. I'm gonna start
I
that over.
I
Go ahead.
did notice that he only had four
Yeah, I
bars.
noticed that too, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. And this explains it. I'd have to go back and look at it again, but let me see if I can actually read it in the way that makes sense.
Hmm.
Picard has ascended to become admiral. However, although he sports only the 4 bars of what appears to be captain rank, he is actually a 1-star admiral. His com badge has silver rank bars and a gold arrowhead, reverse of the standard crew, with 1 star attached to the arrowhead.
Hmm.
I don't know that I necessarily noticed that, but there were times where I was trying to count the bars. Like, is there 5 there? Like, he was
I
moving around too much. And,
I
like,
was I was looking for the same, and again, like I'm recognizing that there's something different here. I want to
yep.
see if I can notice more, and I noticed only that he had four bars,
Hmm.
but a different uniform. So I thought, okay,
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah.
maybe that's the indicator.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a star there, and the colors are reversed. Let's go
Okay.
back. See, the transporter chief is played by George O'Hanlon Jr. His
Hmm.
father, George O'Hanlon, was the longtime voice of George Jetson.
Hmm.
Um, Wesley Crusher does not appear in this episode, and his future is unaddressed. Riker would probably have expected Wesley to have had a successful Starfleet career away from the Enterprise.
Hmm.
Let's see. Um, in the false future reality, every member of the main cast has received a rank increase except for Beverly, who remains a commander. This was likely done because a promotion from commander would have made her a captain, and it would be unusual for someone of that rank not to remain under another captain's command.
Okay.
Which is funny because it happens a lot in the Star Trek movies. Like they're all pretty much captains by the end of it, but
Yeah.
whatever. Um, the plot was inspired by the film 36 Hours, in which James Doohan played the small role of Bishop.
Hmm.
Sets for the Romulan base were redresses of the Borg interiors from Best of Both Worlds. Um, oh, here we could, this comes up a lot, and I forgot that this is always the clue. In Riker's future aboard the Enterprise, there's never a beauty shot of the Enterprise exterior. It's a clue that this is not reality. Remember, we've talked about this. Whenever things are not real, you never see the outside of the Enterprise.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's the trivia.
Yeah. See, I think a lot of that trivia just speaks to how good the episode is
It's
because there's a lot of thought into it. It's
yeah.
not like there's just a bunch of accidental things happening in the episode that are just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, maybe
Well,
this will be connected.
this was directed by Les Landau, and he's directed many episodes at this point. Like he
Hmm.
directed Sarek and what are some of the others? Sins of the Father,
Okay.
The Survivors. Like he's so I think part of that is him and his ability to kind of create a scene.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there's good parts to it. There's just parts that bug me too.
No,
So
I think that's I can absolutely see that. So,
there's your
yeah.
trivia for that one.
Yeah, fun. In the end, I look at it, I enjoyed watching that episode. I had no issues keeping my attention. Yeah, just found it a pleasant episode to watch.
Hmm.
Um, Made me excited to watch more. And then we got to the final mission, in which, before leaving for Starfleet Academy, Wesley Crusher accompanies Captain Picard on a dangerous mission. Um, yeah, I think the best part of this episode was Picard fucking with Wesley at the beginning,
Yeah, that was great.
and it was downhill from there.
Okay.
I'm giving this one a 6, and I feel like I'm being generous because I like Will Wheaton. And there were some nice moments in this episode for Wesley with Picard. Um, but the episode itself was not very good. I give it a 6, probably more of a 6 minus, and it would probably take just the subtlest of encouragement, and I could drop it down to a 5.
Okay. Interesting. Um, man, is this one of those rare moments where I rate something higher than you? Um, I guess it's not that rare looking at the ratings. I'm not that much higher. I gave it a 7. I think it's a
Hmm.
perfectly serviceable episode. Again, I like it better than Future Imperfect. I think the plot makes sense. What they're trying to do makes sense. The thing that I was actually thinking about this morning was that a lot of times one of my biggest complaints about these episodes is the B plot feels like shoved into the episode to fill some time and doesn't seem to match up with the A plot and oftentimes doesn't I don't feel the danger, right? The risk,
Hmm.
all those things. And I will throw out Brothers as a great example of this, right? I mean, yeah, nobody wants to see a kid die and, but it felt like that was a very contrived plot point to have some kind of a thing going on to drive urgency, but also sort of mirror brothers and brothers kind of thing, but
Hmm.
it never quite fit. And there's a lot of examples of that in both this and probably the original series as well. But this one, like I I understood the dilemma that Riker had. right? On the one
Hmm.
hand, Picard and Wesley have gone missing and they need to go find them. And on the flip side, you've got an imminent threat to, I don't know if they ever said a population, but I would assume millions or billions of of beings, right? That, and only the Enterprise can help them.
Hmm.
And so I liked that kind of juxtaposition, that weighing of things, because, it forced Riker to, be the captain and do the right thing, even though it's not what he wanted to do. And once that was done, then go save the day. Um, I also liked the interaction between Picard and Durgo and that kind of power struggle in a lot of ways. Like,
Hmm.
who's really in charge here? And Durgo, well, we'll just say shooting from the hip has rarely worked out in people's favor, at least in Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
But all of those things kind of fit together. I mean, it's not a stellar episode. It's not one that I'm gonna like, oh gee, what should I watch? I'm gonna put on Final Mission. But it's not bad. I thought it was a good send off for Wesley going to the academy. I'm gonna guess, I haven't looked at the trivia, but I'm gonna guess this marks him leaving main cast. Um, at that point, right? Because if he's gonna be at the academy, he's not gonna be in every episode,
I would
right?
imagine.
Um, but I I don't know. I loved Picard screwing with him in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
There's there's
That's
one
so good.
thing there's one thing that bugged me about that though. You know who wasn't on the bridge for that?
His mom.
His mom.
Yeah.
Where the hell was she?
Yeah, I don't
Don't
know.
if you're a parent and your child gets into, the school of their dreams,
H-
I'd totally be
Hang
in
on.
favor.
Hang on one sec.
Yeah. What
Sorry.
trouble did I get myself into now?
Oh no, Abby just popped her head in the office to say Deep Space Nine sucks.
Oh, well, I didn't hear that, so it didn't
Because
happen.
I muted because I thought she had something to say. And apparently she did, and I muted it. I'm
Perfect.
keeping this in. Um,
Anyway,
so parent, kid gets into the school.
yeah, I'm totally in favor of screwing with them a little bit to have some fun with the reveal. I
Yeah.
just like, why wouldn't the parent be there to, like, I
Yeah.
would feel like I missed out on something.
Right. Yeah. So it's funny because this is one where a lot of times we might rate things differently, but say like, I see it, I just gave that a different weighting,
Mhm.
or a different like didn't care for it or whatever.
Mhm.
It's funny. This one, I think we see this episode very differently. Um,
Yep.
I thought
Oh,
it was clear they were giving Will Wheaton a nice send off, or they
for
were
sure.
trying to.
Yep.
They isolated Wesley and Picard to
Yep.
have those moments that, and they weren't as awkward as some of the other episodes where they've had those moments. Um, so I thought that was nice. There were nice moments for Wesley, but the episode was just weak. I felt like the two, the A and B storylines just didn't make much sense. Like, I didn't think they mattered that much. I liked that they had simultaneous threats. So Picard's got his injury and it's
Yep.
dire. And then they've got the increasing radiation levels that was lethal in 35 minutes and then lethal in 1 minute on the Enterprise. So I liked that they had like they're both facing some threat, but it felt to me like the Enterprise storyline was solely there as a story means of separating Picard and Wesley from the rest of the crew so they could have those moments.
Sure.
And to me, it felt just kind of dumb. Um,
But
Not that I didn't like the moments, and there's got to be some reason for that, and for them to not just be like, all right, we're going to be right there. I just thought for how well executed I thought the last two episodes and Reunion in particular, this one just felt like a bit of a just flat. And
I
and
don't.
then and then I feel almost disappointed to see that this is Wesley's send-off episode. Uh, but that's not to take away from the nice moments that there were. Wesley kind of got to be the hero in the episode instead of being kind of the butt of the joke sometimes.
Right.
So it was nice to see that. But again, those moments didn't make up for what was otherwise an episode I just really did not give a shit about.
Yeah, you aren't wrong. Like we both looked at this with a completely different lens
And
because all the things you're saying are the reasons why I liked the episode. Like I don't understand.
yeah, and I don't know, maybe this one I really enjoyed the previous two episodes, and this one I was just bored.
Hmm.
Um, all of a sudden it was over, and I was like, shit, what happened in the last 10 minutes? So I went back and I rewatched it and was almost not able to keep focused on it. It wasn't as bad as Legacy, where I had that same problem, but that episode was worse. Um, but yeah, I went back and rewatched the final 10 minutes, like, okay, what did I miss? And then at the end it was just like, okay, well, I saw that. Okay, I guess I didn't miss much, but
Look,
it
this
was
is
just kind of meh.
this isn't an 8 or a 9 or a 10
No.
episode. It just isn't. That being said, like I totally understand that as part of the send off, like, look, Picard has always been the father figure
Yeah.
for Wesley. So to have his send off be
If it had been anything else, it would have been disappointing because
absolutely
it would not have felt right.
so you have to you have to separate them.
Yep.
And again, I like the way they did that versus like what they did in an episode like Brothers, where I didn't care. Like those two
Yeah.
kids I could have given two shits about, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think I said that like I rated that one an 8, but I think I said in there I only gave it an 8 because of the A plot, and the B plot could have just gone away.
Hmm.
And then in this one, the B plot actually brought an existential threat. Like I can I understand why everything that happened.
Yeah.
Short of maybe why didn't they take an Enterprise shuttlecraft instead of shitty mining shuttle, right? Maybe, but again, I'm not giving it an 8 or a 9 or a 10. I'm giving it a
Right.
7. So I'm going to kind of write that one off. Everything else made sense to me. Like
Yeah.
that progression, I understand and it worked in my
Yeah.
mind.
So you
So,
gave this one a 7.
yep.
Yeah. I mean, we're differing by one.
I mean,
I mean,
this is like
I'm
splitting
giving it
hairs.
a 6, and like I
It's
said,
not
it
like I
was
give
kind of
it a
like a
10 and
6
you give it a
minus.
2.
Right. Um, but yeah, I think it's bumped. It's the episode is salvaged by the nice moments, and not just an individual nice moment, but a series of nice moments between Picard
Hmm.
and Wesley. And
Hmm.
and it definitely a better feeling than the send off that Tasha Yar got of try to jump over the tar monster and get just
And
killed
die. Yep.
and just dead. I mean, and I mean, even that episode had the nice little send off of the holographic thing that she had. Um, so it felt like a nicer send off than that. Felt like a nice send off for Will Wheaton leaving the main cast of the show.
Yep.
And it had that feeling too. Like it just had that feeling of they were really giving this to him. And then I'm just like, couldn't they have given him a better episode? It was just kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was just kind of like it didn't fit the standard I think that's been set by the overall general quality of the episodes. It's not like it was poorly done, poorly written or anything.
Sure.
Um, and I will say, looking back at my notes, it had one of the things that's bothered me in other episodes. Um, when they crashed on the planet, did you hear some of the things Picard said?
Mm-mm.
You need to get shelter from the sun. Um, it's like, well, no, that's whatever their star is.
Yeah. Oh,
It's kind of
yeah.
the whole solar system, going
Yeah.
to a different solar
It bugs
system
you.
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that just tiny little detail that mildly irritates me.
That's fair.
Um,
I mean, there
and then
was
I'm sure I'm gonna someday find out like, oh no, it would make sense for any star system for the star to be called the sun of any habitable planet.
right.
Um, but I don't know. It
But
just
you're having the same challenges with this episode that basically I had with Future Imperfect was
right.
it's just all the little nitty picky stuff that bothered you stacked up and turned it into a six
Yeah.
in a lot of
Yeah,
ways,
pretty
right?
much. Pretty much. Yeah. And I'll still give it the credit for being a for the scenes that the series of scenes that they had, I thought it was a nice send off for Wesley. Now I think I've looked at things and I think he comes back as kind of a one-off deal a few times. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, just on the whole, nice send off for him. And I don't feel like he's been as big a part of this season.
No, he's not.
Um,
He's certainly there have been episodes where he's not been in them, and then episodes where even though he's in them, he's played a much smaller part,
yeah.
right? I
So
mean, yeah,
I
he has a bigger part in Remember Me,
yeah.
but that's the only thing that really sticks out in my mind.
Hmm.
No
Sorry.
yawning.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was never a Wesley hater. I don't
I
think
am not
there were
either. I think
episodes where
Wesley's
he
great.
was kind of like, all right, that was kind of dumb or whatever. But I
I,
I I've not been a Wesley hater. I'm a Will Wheaton fan.
I will say there that one scene right after they crash when Durgo is trying to like exercise some authority and Wesley goes off on them. I did write it down. I was like, oh, there's that overreacting Wesley, like from season one. Just like the overacting there is it was a little jarring because
I
before and after
yeah.
he's good, but that scene it's like you need to shut up. Like
Well, and the other part that stuck out to me was when he fell and then Wesley shows up, gives him a hand and pulls him up and he's like, and you were worried about the captain. It's
yeah.
just like
Like this snarky little bitch.
petulant little asshole.
Yeah. Oh, that is pretty funny. Um, yeah. So, oh,
But yeah,
look, it's not going to make my top 10. It's not going to make my top
no.
20. Well, I only get a bad episode.
I mean, so
So,
far it's a top 9 episode of this season. All right,
which
I'll say you know what? I'm gonna go even one better. I'm gonna say it's a top 8 episode of this
one did
season
you like?
that we've
Oh,
watched.
his
His
legacy?
legacy
Yeah,
sucked.
that was a terrible episode.
And
I had to
even
look
then
at
I
a
still gave
commercial.
it a 5.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Code of Honor, so
Right.
um, how many episodes in a row have we made a reference to how bad Code of Honor is?
God.
It's
I mean,
it's
what
kind of come up
episode?
almost every episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what episode did we watch Code of Honor, and how
Yeah.
many have we recorded since then? That's
Yeah.
that's your answer.
Oh, what a terrible episode. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else from
I
this one?
I didn't have much else. Yeah, didn't really have much else on this one. Anything I thought the little like headdress things they started wearing on the planet makes sense. You want to
Yep. Yeah.
protect your ears and your neck and everything.
Right.
Um, but it it was I did look up what's 50 million kilometers.
Okay.
And it's not always going to be this number, but that would roughly be like in the ballpark of, hey, we're trying to go to Venus. Shit, we got to land on Earth.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's a long ways.
just to give that scope. Yeah, it's like where I think I remember looking it up once and it was like something was like 100,000 kilometers and it was like, okay, that's like a third of the way between here and the moon.
Yeah.
Um, as the distance they're talking. But yeah, it was about ballpark a potential distance between like Venus and Earth. Um, so yeah. Uh, and then I thought it was weird how Picard said something. Let me see. Um, yeah, the way he said it, I thought was just kind of strange when he was just like, our communicators may not be able to get a signal through this strong magnetic field. I'm fashioning an arrow. If a search party finds the wreckage, they'll know we've headed for those mountains. And then at the end, when what did Crusher say? When she was like, "We found the wreckage. The arrow you indicated, or the arrow which indicated your direction." It was just like, okay, yeah, tying
Yeah, we
stuff
had to
up.
bring
I
it
get
back,
it,
man.
but oh, come on. If you show me an arrow in Act One, you've sure as shit better reference it in
So
Act
they
Three.
did. They solved that for you.
Yeah, but it was just like, just again, just felt forced.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that.
and yes, felt so just goofy with Picard there with this goofy headdress on to not get his sunburn and just like I've fashioned an arrow.
Mhm.
It's just like, what the hell are you saying? So
Uh,
again, nitpicky, an okay
fine.
episode. It wasn't terrible. It
Yeah.
was it was watchable enough, and had some nice moments.
Yep.
Hopefully that's how people think of this episode. Like,
Oh,
it's listenable and has some
right.
nice moments. I'll
I'll
settle
keep
for that.
listening. Yeah. I didn't hate it. I'll keep
Yeah,
listening.
right. Uh,
You
that's
ready for some
good.
trivia?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I'm kind of curious to think about how this would change the episode, but originally the setting of the stranding was to be on an ice planet. But producers determined that such a setting would look too hokey on screen. I agree. However, could be interesting. Rick Berman suggested the desert planet setting, feeling it would come across as more realistic looking. Yeah, more realistic. Um, Following that, 2 days of location shooting were done on the El Mirage dry lake bed in San Bernardino County, east of Los Angeles, to portray the surface of Lambda Paz. So that's where they shot that. Nice big old dry lake bed.
Hmm.
Before beginning their trek to the mountains, Durgo distributes some phasers he scavenged from his damaged shuttle. The props used are Stargent Fleet phaser pistol circa 2285 from Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. I actually wrote that down. I'm like, oh, those are like old phasers.
Hmm.
And little things I noticed.
All right.
Um, At one point, Wesley Crusher refers to a 6-hour shuttle trip he and Picard made to Starbase 515. This is a reference to an actual plotline in the episode Samaritan Snare from season 2.
Hmm.
Let's see here. When Wesley finds the moon for the shuttle to make an emergency landing on, he states that the average mean temperature is 55 degrees Celsius. Isn't average mean a little bit redundant? Anyway, this equates to an average mean temperature of 131 degrees Fahrenheit. So
Oh,
if that's the
damn.
average temperature, whew,
That's toasty, and they're
that is
still wearing their long
toasty.
sleeve uniforms.
But what choice did they have? Like you take those
Right.
off and you just expose more skin to
Yeah,
get,
you just fry.
yeah. Like it's not like they didn't have water or rations. They definitely didn't have sunscreen.
Right.
Um, Here, the thing we assumed this episode was created expressly with the purpose of providing an appropriate way for Will Wheaton to leave the show. Wheaton had asked to leave the Next Generation so he could pursue offers to appear in feature films.
Hmm.
So, and that's it. That's the trivia.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I mean, even the episode I didn't care as much for, still fine.
Hmm.
Still an okay episode. Not bad.
Yep.
It's one that again, I think I would have hoped for a better overall episode for a send off for a character.
Yeah.
But overall, I would find this probably to be a fairly forgettable episode.
For sure.
Um, yeah. Uh, but yeah, the other two reunion I thought was just great. Best episode of the week for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I agree.
yeah, really good. Made me see Kalar in a different light too. Makes me want to revisit the emissary and see, okay, has my thought changed on that one at
Yep.
all? And maybe it hasn't. Maybe I'll still just be like, man, she's kind of a pain in the ass in that episode.
You know what? It's okay if it doesn't, right? I
Right.
mean,
But that episode was just fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed Future Imperfect. I could also see that one not holding up um, as subsequent watches. But yeah, really enjoying it. Looking ahead, we're up to next week. Or next time we'll be through episode 12 of season 4, nearing halfway through season 4,
God, it
which
just
puts us about
flies.
halfway through the series, through next
Just
gen.
flies.
I know. So we've got The Loss, Data's Day, and The Wounded next time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And,
sounds good.
well, there you go. I think that's about it for this week. So if you're joining along with us, next week we will be watching The Loss, Data's Day, and The Wounded. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a rating and a review. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast, to Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook. Visit tobaldlygopodcast.com for episode posts and aaronemery.net for more from me. Also, check out our sister show, The InLap, for weekly F1 talk. For Nate, this is Aaron reminding you to never give up, never surrender. It's listenable and has some nice moments.